Dean Stanzel's our guest. This is AM 1400, KVFD, the voice for Dodge. I've been going to the grocery store here the last couple of weeks, and there's signs on the meat counter that says they're either out of meat or they're rationing meat. Now, this is meat, ladies and gentlemen, not toilet paper. By the way, most grocery stores are still rationing toilet paper for God only knows why. But this is food. And there are still those who say, well, we must shelter in place and all this. I mean, the saddest thing that I've seen reported in our local news is that hogs are being taken out in the middle of the field and euthanized, shot in the middle of the field, leave their decaying corpses out there. Chickens slaughtered by the hundreds because there's no market. In places where there are dairy farmers in our state, and certainly Wisconsin, they're pouring the milk out on the ground. They can't even get it to market. They can't get the meat to market. They can't do anything.
This is Michael, I'm curious because I know you have insight being in Iowa. It's not that there's not a market, right? Isn't it just that the supply chain in terms of the processing plants have been disrupted so much?
I should have made that clear. The demand is there and the product is there.
Right, exactly. So that makes it all that much worse. We can't get our rules in place to allow for the actual products that's there to get to the people that are willing to buy it.
Well, if we don't keep the packing plants closed and everything else, then we're evil, heartless, murderers, I suppose. I mean, the things you hear floating around. I mean, I'm very disappointed in my country. I'm very disappointed in these alarmists and the sky is falling. Yes, we have a terrible pandemic. We've just got to get together and work it out. What's the plan? I hear all these warnings. I don't hear a plan. Anyway, I'm lecturing during Dr. Stanzel's time here. I'm sorry. What can you say, or what can we say about the ability of Americans to buy meat in a grocery store?
So one thing that's come up, and I sent you this article from Reason Magazine that recently has risen, is that you have the regulations kind of standing in the way of smaller ranchers and farmers being able to get their product to market. And so there's something called the Wholesome Meat Act, which Congress passed in 1967, and it puts down rules that essentially make these smaller producers have to jump through the exact same hoops as the big mass processing plants, which makes it then harder for them to get their product to market in the grocery stores in particular. And so there's another example here where there is product out there that the sellers want to sell, and certainly buyers want to keep buying meat. Most of us do, at least, and government regulations are standing in the way. So here's another case where we could take a closer look at what we're doing regulation wise and suspend it, or better yet, just get rid of it.
There apparently is no real concept of overregulation in our country, in our state right now. And again, I realize this is a deadly pandemic. I mean, 75,000 Americans have died, maybe 80,000 by now. But again, the answer cannot be let's keep doing what we've always done because it's failing. I mean,
right.
It's not working at all. Dean Stanzel's our guest at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. He's an economist, of course. This is from the Springfield News Leader. This is another article that Dr. Stanzel has sent me. It's a little disturbing. We're making comparisons to the Constitution here, Dean, but I think we have to talk about it. I mean,
yep.
I mean that this could happen. See, I understand and appreciate this. People are very worried about public health and the health of the individual. I understand that. I support it. But there's virtually no conversation going on about our emotional and economic life. And is this Springfield, Missouri, Dr. Stansel, or?
I think so, yes. Okay. Yeah, this is by an economist in Missouri, yep.
Okay. So what can we say about the government in a post-pandemic world? And again, this is on my Facebook page.
Yeah, so the thing that caught my eye about this is that, as you know, at the O'Neill Center, we produce, some of our people, at least, are authors of some of these economic freedom indexes that we talk about once a year or so on here. And so this gentleman, this economist, was using the national index, looking at what he did was he broke the countries of the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, into groups by their death rates on COVID. So the 10 highest death rates he was comparing to the 10 lowest death rates. And he looked at two things. He looked at their economic freedom score and found that for those with the highest death rate, well, they had an average economic freedom rank of 30th, which is not terrible out of, I think, 142 is the sample set. But for the countries with the lowest death rates, they had an average rank of 24. So it's not a huge difference, but they were freer, right? The freer countries had lower death rates in general. This is not, statistically rigorous approach. It's a kind of a simple looking at, but it gives us some information about the kind of the narrative that, well, we need bigger government to fix this. Well,
yes, that's it.
That have bigger government are doing worse. And secondly, he looked at something called the WHO ranking, the WHO ranking of healthcare systems, and basically saw that the ones with the highest death rates had, according to WHO, the best hospital systems. But whose best hospital systems are those where it's nationalized and a lot of government intervention. So those where government intervened the most in the healthcare system had the higher death rates. So it's interesting to look at it that way and kind of think about what I think it gives some instruction to what we should do here moving forward in terms of people calling for changes in the system.
Well, I'm always ready for change if you can show me it's going to be positive change, but we just have Chicken Littles now, people running around screaming their heads off. It's
right.
I'm embarrassed for my country, really I am. Dr. Dean Stanzel has been our guest. He is a professor of economics at Southern Methodist University. Is there anything else as we close, Dean?
Well, I would say that the main thing is that don't get too upset with these daily fluctuations and things like the stock market and every week they'll release the new unemployment claims. I mean, these things are going to look bad for a while, but ultimately I think we're heading in the right direction. I think good times are here eventually.
All right, Dr. Dean Stanzel of Southern Methodist University. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, Michael.
You bet. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine, the Doctor of Truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
This is a last chance alert. It's happening. Publishers Clearinghouse is ready to award $5,000 a week for life in just days. Enter now at PCH.com and you could win $5,000 a week after week, for life. Don't miss this last chance to win $5,000 a week for life on June 30th. Enter at PCH.com before it's too late. That's PCH.com. Better hurry if you want the next big winner to be you. Enter now at PCH.com. Entries due 6/25. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited.
During this challenging and unprecedented time, Gunderson's is here to serve with expert guidance and understanding to each family and their unique needs. We provide options for funeral, cremation, memorial, virtual, and webcast services, either presently or at a later date. We understand that grief does not wait. We are trained to help you walk this path to bring comfort and support. Every life deserves to be recognized and celebrated, whether it be together or afar.
Today on This Old But Still Nice House.
Hey, I'm going to start on getting that paint off the windowsill.
Wouldn't do that. This house was built before 1978. That's probably lead-based paint.
I don't think there's enough here to make a difference. Can't I just do it?
Sure, we can start the lead professional certification program on the Iowa Department of Public Health's website. Or we could just go to the site and find someone from their list of certified professionals. Seriously, stop scraping.
Find out what happens on the next episode of This Old But Still Nice House.